Since at least 1994, the police and Crown Prosecution Service both knew that the fake Sheikh Mazher Mahmood could not and should not, and that's using their own words in a communication they made in writing with each other in 1994. They said he could not and should not ever be relied upon as a witness of truth ever again after a court case relying on his evidence collapsed. And yet they continued to rely on his perjurious lies and fabricated stories to wrongfully convict people until the collapse of the Talisa trial in 2014. As the case is brought by myself in my birth name of Alex Smith versus News Group newspapers, filed on the 30th of September 2022 and settled at the end of 2024 by News Group newspapers making me a large settlement offer that I was forced to accept, and also earlier this year making a private apology to me for their for the actions of their journalist, including the fact my claim was for the fact that they had hacked my phone illegally, used illegal surveillance, that Mazher Mahmood and his team members had drugged my drinks, and that they had fabricated false evidence, edited spliced tapes, and that they paid thousands to my publicist I'd known for years to betray my trust, to manipulate things and lie to me, that they'd fabricated evidence, they lied to the police and lied to the courts. It's not just in my case, it happened in many other victims of the fake Sheikh Mazher Mahmood. Hence they made us these settlements offers that we were effectively forced into silence because we could not afford to take it to court to get the full evidence out to show the dishonest and illegal actions, and the fact that also phone hacking was being used as far back as at least 1998 in my case, 1997 in the case of John Alford, and likely even earlier than that. In my case, as you can see on circusofthemind.net, Mazher Mahmood kept hold of the alleged counterfeit coins, which is the only thing that I ever, was sort of incriminated in, although I still argue to this day I had a legal excuse, a lawful excuse for going to collect those coins, using the money that Mahmood gave me up front, and going and collecting them from the place that his team and associates told me where to get them from. In other words, they were all elements of the supply chain, as I lay out in my claim against News Group newspapers, the document of which you can see on circusofthemind.net, which they settled at the end of 2024 and at the start of 25 gave me a private letter of apology. He kept hold of the coins for a full week after the story appeared. He had no lawful excuse for that, and yet the police never charged him with breaking the law like they should have done. Perhaps more disturbing, or just as disturbing, is the fact that neither the police or the Crown Prosecution Service ever disclosed to me in 1998, or prior to my trial in 99, or at any time since, right up to the day of making this video on the 11th of July 2025, they have never disclosed to me the multiple court cases that have collapsed because Mazher Mahmood's evidence was brought into question and he was shown to be a liar. There are documents that exist that came out in the MITVille, the mobile telephone voicemail interception litigation, which came out in disclosure that showed the police and Crown Prosecution Service communicated with each other in 1994 and categorically said that Mahmood could not and should not ever again be relied upon as a witness of truth. And yet they carried on relying on his fabricated evidence, his perjurious lies, and his nonsense stories to wrongfully convict people of crimes that he created because they were all elements of the supply chain. And in my case, and many others, phone hacking was used illegally, illegal surveillance. People had their drinks drugs, they were manipulated, people close to them were paid thousands to lie to them and manipulate them and socially engineer them. It's a rabbit hole of corruption and cover-up because the police and Crown Prosecution Service to this day have never disclosed any of this to us victims, and yet they knew this in 1994, and yet they carried on charging people based on his perjurous lies and fabricated nonsense until the collapse of the Talisa trial in 2014. It's madness. Seriously, there have been miscarriages of justice galore. Mahmood's name is even mentioned in the Daniel Morgan murder inquiry report because his photographer Bradley Page was one of the people doing illegal surveillance on Jackie Hames and David Cook. And, well, what can I say? Go to circusofthemind.net. There's legal documents, there's videos, there's information that shows that I was wrongfully convicted, that in fact I did have a lawful excuse to go and collect the coins from the place Mahmood's team told me where to get them from, using the money they gave me up front, because it was always my intention to expose his dishonesty in another newspaper, as explained at circusofthemind.net. Unfortunately, because of phone hacking, illegal surveillance, and paying thousands to people I'd known for years to lie and manipulate me, they were always 20 steps ahead of me and did everything they could to get me wrongfully imprisoned with a malicious prosecution. One that should never have occurred and would never have occurred if the Police and Crown Prosecution Service had disclosed to me what they knew and what they'd said in writing in 1994, where they said Mahmood should not and could not ever be relied upon as a witness of truth ever again. That the fact that in 1990, circa 98, 99, another case collapsed because he was shown to have lied. And then after my conviction, there were other cases that collapsed because of Mahmood's lies. They're supposed to have a duty of care to let, and an obligation, the police and CPS, to let people know about things that could undermine the safety of their convictions. And yet at no point to the present day of the 11th of July 2025 have the police or CPS ever disclosed to me anything about the things that I mentioned or the things that you can find links to on circusofthemind.net. Please share this far and wide. We need Leveson Inquiry Part 2 more than ever. I have been given information that suggests that Mazher Mahmood may have been an asset of the intelligence agencies. He was certainly a police informant. There's evidence of that out there. It certainly looks as though the police and CPS turned a blind eye to his perjurous lies for years. Otherwise, why did they never disclose these things to me and other victims? Check out circusofthemind.net.